Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of KayFeine Conversation. I'm Kay,
Fee.
and we are a day late. Uh, so we're just doing it today on Monday. But of course, as usual, we're going to be talking about Love, Marriage, and Huntsville, Season 6, Episode 10, Unpaid in Full. So how was your
Yes.
weekend?
My weekend was actually phenomenal. Anytime I get to go to Huntsville, where our Love and Marriage Huntsville crew are, and where our Love Marriage Huntsville crew is located, and I get to see my grandbabies, it's always a good weekend. So I got to see Ava Grace and Alexa Faith, so I'm good.
Okay. Well, as usual, I don't do too much, especially being in school. So, um, yeah, just working on my diet and my fitness.
Hmm.
Nothing really extraordinarily happened this weekend.
Hmm.
So let's get into it. What?
I must say you're doing good on your diet. That you gonna let the
Oh,
fans
oh
know
yeah,
how.
oh yeah. I mean, well, again, I'm not working, and I'm looking for work, but I'm not stressed about looking for work because I really need to get my weight under control. COVID, my second master's degree, and that took a toll on me, and I didn't even realize just how much. Even though I've been trying to lose weight, but when the body is stressed, it's
Hmm.
really hard to lose weight. So, but now for sure, mentally, physically, especially with my back not hurting like it was, I've been able to
Hmm.
get out there and do some more. And I just feel so much better too. I sleep so much better when I'm able to. So
Hmm.
again, it's just about being mindful and being in my 50s now. You just have to be a little bit more conscientious of what you do for yourself. It
Yeah,
makes
because
no
God,
sense.
God ain't dropping no more bodies down.
No, and it doesn't make sense. I'm out there teaching people about health, and then they don't see that in myself. So I'm not over the top with it, but definitely my goal is to, try and lose a few pounds. At least get back to the weight I was when I started in the emergency department, which was
Hmm.
186 pounds. But hell, I'll even take 190 at this point.
We have to take what we can get.
I sure would. Hell, I'd even take it if I get down to 200. But you know, there's a series of you lose a couple and you bounce. It's not that you've actually done anything differently, but the body is so amazing. It's its way of trying to hold on because it doesn't know what you're doing, and then when
Hmm.
it finally catches up, then it will let go of those weights. So I know that happens, but I'm hoping to lose 3 pounds today. This not today,
Hmm.
but this week. That's the goal this week.
Okay.
So we'll see. I'm just waiting for a few more of our cafinators to join us. They've been so accommodating. I know they're used to hearing us from us on a Sunday morning, but the last couple of weeks we've had to do Monday because of traveling and other priorities. But
Uh-huh.
they've been so great in coming back and finding us wherever they can. So we're just waiting. But anyway, we're gonna get started because we're really trying to cut down on the time. I know you and I can go back and forth sometimes, but I really want us to just stay on topic. We're gonna just hit a couple of points and move on. So, what is it you wanted to talk about this week on love,
Actually, I'm
marriage, and
going on live
Huntsville?
on Podbean, so I want to say hello to our Podbean. That's why if y'all see me looking down, I was actually
Yes,
logging on to Podbean. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, you can also check out KayFeine Conversation from there as well. So I just wanted
yes.
to say hello to our Podbean listeners and our podcast listeners as well.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome to KayFeine Conversation. And also, don't forget, you can also find us in video form on YouTube. We always upload after we do our taping. And of
Mhm.
course, our welcome to our wisdom listeners. I'm always looking down too because I control our wisdom platform. So, love, marriage, in Huntsville. What is it you wanted to tweeze out? I really only have one perspective. One thing I wanted us to tweeze out of this weekend's episode, and that was with the comeback group all getting together. I feel like some of the stuff now is becoming repetitive, and they're not necessarily resolving anything. So I'm like, okay, here it is. We're just dragging this scene out again. But what is it you wanted to talk about? Because I know you
Well,
always have a lot to say, and we always
I always
have
have the what?
opinion.
I always
Mhm.
have what? You said I
We
always
always
have what?
have difference of opinion, and we you know we can go back and forth sometimes, but we're really gonna try and keep it to a minimum.
But that's what makes us us, and our own
Of
individual
course,
selves. So of course
of
we,
course.
even though we're besties, we think different. It is what it is.
And we sure do. Our you know, and how is it that this is like our longest relationship, right? It's because, and it probably is true what they say, opposites
Opposites
attract,
attract. Yeah.
whatever the relationships are. And even though opposites attract, we also bring out the best in each other as friends. We challenge each other, not in a negative way. We don't compete with each other, but it's always yes, you can do it, and this is what I'm gonna do. You just like, you know what? I'm up for the shits and giggles too. I'm a ride with you too. Let's go. So I'm telling y'all, get you a friend that does not compete with you but wants the best for you. And whether they're gonna join in and do it with you or on the sideline saying, "Let's go," let's get
Yeah.
it popping.
I always want to see you win. Yeah, I always want to see
Always,
you win.
you
Yeah.
know.
And
I
so
was
what
talking to my mom about that too, but we'll go through love, marriage, and Huntsville, and maybe this can be a blessing or a help to someone else. But go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just going to bring out the part about the comeback group. And of course, like you said, they are dragging this out. First, I want to say, with Tisha, first of all, I don't know why Marceau, first of all, I'm the most ghetto country person anyone will ever meet. I ain't gonna always, my nouns and verbs ain't gonna always agree. I don't always conjugate my verbs. But let me tell you, when I say I have found someone worse who speaks worse than I do, latishascott is that person. Do you hear me? And for Marceau, because he articulates himself so much better than his wife, why couldn't he present number one instead of Tisha? Because when I tell you between Kiki, Wanda, and Tisha, I have no clue what they're talking about, Kay. And again, this is no judgment zone because I'm country and ghetto. But girl, you cannot talk. That's number one. But even in me trying to put the pieces together of what she said, it was absolute BS. It made no sense that you want these people to come waste their time. Because see, one thing about money, you can get money back, you can't get time back. And you want them to come spend their time on a group that they actually created, that you just trying to say that you created. You didn't just revamp it, tweaked a couple of things, changed your name on it. But it's still the comeback group, as Kimmy and Maurice, so eloquently articulated last week. It's our stuff.
And I'm
And so
glad they came to Melody's defense, because Melody was the first one who highlighted that point maybe 3 or 4 episodes back, and they were all quiet in the room. But Melody sat back and allowed everybody else to have a say, because it seems as whenever Melody says something, that's when they want to pipe up and, push her back in a corner. But one thing about her is that she's smart and she knows her worth, and chef's kiss, good for her. But
yeah, but she
they think
tried to.
Marceau and Tish believe that they're the smartest one in the room and they knows best. But I
Okay,
found
absolutely not.
it was very unfair in what they're wanting to do, which is slap a different name on it and call it say it's something different when it's exactly the same. Like, they're not equally as smart and business people too. And why shouldn't they be paid for their time? They have enough following and enough companies that would want to be a part of that expo that would generate some funds. But
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was all wrong.
Yeah,
So
and so for them to first of all, my first thing was her trying to lay out the plan for everybody. I really think Marceau should have laid it out because she could not articulate well. That's number one. Number two, I'm glad that Kimmy and Maurice called them out on their BS, because it was simply BS for you to want somebody to invest your time. And I'm so glad, because these days I'm not a Melody Cherie fan, but when she's right, I'm gonna always ride with right. And when she's wrong, I'm always gonna go against wrong. And one of the things that she said was, on the last meeting, no one even talked about having sponsorship. That was my idea, so that we all can get paid. And so now you're coming back and now you're talking about sponsorship, but just to invest it in the community and not pay anybody. And that was the whole reason I brought up sponsorship. I most definitely think they should get paid, but I also love the idea of giving back to the community. But I think both things can happen simultaneously. Pay the people, then what's left, absolutely invest in a small business in a community, because that's why we start watching the show. That's what the Comeback Black Expo, whatever name you want to put on it, that's what it's all about, giving back to the community that has helped you get to where you are. So why can't you do both? But to come with this cocky attitude of taking something that we all created and to call it yours, and then to not even pay us, but you want us to use our talents. And let's be very clear, Tisha and Marceau, if you're watching, let's be very clear. Without a Melody Holt, without a martellholt, without a
Melody
kimmiscott,
Cherie now. Melody Cherie. We're gonna remain
whatever you want to call her, without those three, because people can say what they want about Martell. They gonna blast him in public, but they gonna ride with him in private. Without those three individuals, and I'm gonna say those names again: Martell, Melody, and Kimmy. Without those three, you ain't got no Black Expo. So let's be very clear on that. Very clear. So that was my thing on that, on the Black Expo, that they need to get paid. But it was a bunch of BS that Tisha and Marceau, like, no, y'all are not getting paid. We just want y'all. Come on, we doing it at.
I'm just really hoping they were just doing that for the show, because again, they don't get up and have the cameras in their face for free. Everybody want to cash a check at the end of it. So I'm hoping but there's just no way they could have thought that all these talents were just gonna do it just because. And also, it's not even an established function that they were starting, right, to even want to do all these things for the community. Sometimes you have to build it and then give back. But and if you're so concerned about giving back, well, let Black be one of your businesses, be the sponsorship, and whatever you're paying, you put it in the donorship for the community. It seemed kind of scamish and schemish to me. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't either. Like, you gonna get all the sponsorship money. No, I didn't like that. But Carlos King, if you're listening, I pray that you go back to the basics, that you go back to what this show was originally about. Are you the king of Ratchet? You absolutely are, sir. And I bow down to you, because when I tell you, you have took Ratchet TV to another level, you have most definitely did your thing in that. But just like Tisha and Marceau can do both, they can give back to the community and they can pay their co-stars with them. You can do the same thing. You still can bring your Ratchet, but you also can have these beautiful Black people bringing in the gems and the knowledge that they have. I mean, they have so much knowledge in real estate, property, commercial, individual housing, all of these things that they can bring to the show. And do you have to make it a whole show about that? Absolutely not. But you can combine the two. What about Stormy in her business, Marceau and Tisha in commercial real estate, Martell in what you call it, real estate, you know what I'm trying to say, not commercial,
Residential.
I couldn't think of that word. It left me for a minute. But residential, even Maurice encouraging people, hey, go back to school. Hey, this is one point where I was having people build their credit, and he still can talk about points on build your credit, even if you just have a scene, an educational scene to educate. Because when I tell you Gen Z, they're not working for anybody in 2023. That's why when you go to McDonald's, you can't get that ketchup and you got to stand in line 20 minutes, because people don't want to work. And COVID has shown us that we can start our own businesses. But a lot of us, like myself, we come from backgrounds where we're the first ones to attend college. We're the first ones to start a business. And we don't know, and we have to struggle. But how beautiful would it be to have these people who went through the struggle that can drop these gems, that can drop their knowledge? Like, I love the scene season, not last season, an episode ago where Melody was saying, "Hey, this right here is considered this." When she had the two black gentlemen walking around the house and she was educating them, that scene could have went on probably another 3 or 4 minutes and dropped some more gems to every time somebody come to the show. Yeah, we're gonna get the ratchet, but we also can walk away with something that we can put in our arsenal that
Yeah.
we can use to build our business. That would be beautiful, Carlos. Come on, get with it, Carlos. Get with it.
Sort of like our tagline: "Come for the laughs and stay for the wisdom." Okay, we're gonna come for the ratchet, but in the midst of the ratchet, give us something, give the audience something that they can hang on to and be inspired to go and do something different with their life. You know, and you know my thing, not everybody is built to run a business. Sometimes we just got to be honest about that. However, you can still inspire people to do something different and do something more.
Absolutely.
I'm not quite sure. I think he's missing the mark. Not only that, he's had several great seasons of this format that he follows.
Mm-hmm.
But at the point, but at some point you have to understand, I need to evolve. My audience is getting older. They want something more, and you should always be that much ahead to realize, okay, I gotta pivot. I gotta evolve the show to bring people in and keep people interested. I don't want to see grown women fighting every day. It was okay season 1, season 2, even season 3, but now we're on season 6. Let's elevate and do something more. Again, bring us in with the ratchet, but drop some gems on how, hey, this is how you can improve your life, because we're not all going to be on a TV show.
Yeah.
Some of us are going to have to go and work a 9 to 5 somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start doing better. I just want to see better, and I'm a little bit disappointed that even on the own network, and again, sister girl, she trying to make her money too, that we haven't already started having these discussions about evolving the show. Because Oprah, I was watching something on Oprah, I watched a documentary this week. I think it's that checkup thing, and she spent 366 days on her property without ever leaving during COVID. We are not all that blessed, okay? Some of us had to go punch somebody's clock. So
Absolutely.
we all trying to get there
Absolutely.
where our money just make money even if we don't leave home.
So Carlos,
So
we're not knocking you, we're not knocking the cast for y'all making y'all coins. All we saying is level up a little bit. And then
yeah,
in the midst of you leveling up, you're gonna level up the people that tune into the show, because you're gonna have the
yes,
people who probably don't like the ratchet, but they know, hey, I'm trying to start a business, and they
yeah,
dropping gems every week. It may not be the whole hour of the show, but out of an hour, I'm gonna get 20 minutes of gems dropped. They're gonna go behind the scenes of some of these and just drop gems, and that's all we want. That's the reason a lot of us, I know for myself and for Kay, a lot of us start watching this show because you were talking about, these four influential black couples in Huntsville, just doing the thing in real estate. And I'm like, wow,
yes.
because I was thinking
And
about
then
getting
they
into real
just sort of
estate.
like, they just deviated from that because, of course,
Mhm.
people like to look at the train wreck. We like to look at the car accident. But I think it's just also life experiences. These people still
Mhm.
have to go to work. Why can't we
Yeah.
see that too? What they do for work and what they do and what they're always trying to talk about, but we never actually get to see it and for them to explain it. So I'm hoping.
Absolutely.
I know Carlos King has tuned into a couple of our shows when we post it to Instagram. So I'm hoping he'll hear this. Don't forget to tag him this week too on Instagram and see if we can get some feedback. And I know he may not necessarily respond, but when they do their tell all, the end of the season, they always say, well, this is what the streets are saying. So I'm hoping he's hearing that we want to see more.
And we
And
need Kay and Fee for a super fan. When you do your super fan this season, we need to be on the show, Carlos.
please
Okay?
and thank you.
Email
Please and thank you.
kfeemanagement@gmail.com, please. And thank you.
Thank you.
Because we are super fans. We are super
You
fans,
sure are.
absolutely. And we love you, Carlos. We just want to see you
And
level
I
up.
and I and I
Because
think and I think it's more like our tagline. It's, when I tune into the show, I go for the ratchet, but I want to impart with some knowledge that I didn't have before, or something that I may not have thought about, but like, hey, maybe you can do this too. Like
yeah,
we say, come for the laughs and stay for the wisdom. Well, we're gonna tune in for the ratchet, but we want to hear how we're gonna elevate and our people, not just a race thing, not just a black and white things, because they have fans across all race as we do too. However, we want to make sure that we're uplifting people, you know.
Yeah.
We anyway, but
Yeah. So kudos Kimmy and Mel for calling them on their BS. Scott, y'all needed to get it together. I don't know. And Marcel,
absolutely.
you know I love me some Marcel. I don't care petition, but I love me some Marcel. But Marcel, again, I can't ride when you wrong, just like with Melanie. I rode with her for years, but when she started getting petty Betty, I couldn't ride with the foolishness. Marcel, I love you, but when you go wrong, I can't go with you. I'm always gonna stay on the side of right. And and speaking of that, gonna help me to transition into the next topic I want to talk about, which was Martell and his suits. Again, Carlos, I know you're not a Martell fan, but I don't care what anybody says. Martell is a good dresser. I know people say his clothes too little, this and that, but he is a good dresser. So is
All
Mel.
right,
I think Mel should have a clothing line. They are very good dressers to me. And who better to start a suit line, a classy suit line than Martell Holt? I'm with it. I ain't no male, but I'm gonna buy one. I'm gonna be one of the first supporters. I got to buy a suit for my husband. And I like that idea. But again, wouldn't it be beautiful, Kay, to go behind the scenes and see how you start your own clothing line?
well, based on Saturday, the company came to him saying we'd like to do something with you.
Yeah,
So,
but would you like
okay,
to see the ins and outs of that?
yes, how it all developed and came to, and how
Yes.
much of a part he was. Is he just going to be a face, or is he actually going to be a part of the design and what he likes in a suit, how he picks his suit? That would be great, and maybe inspire some people. I'm hoping, because if the show continues the way it is, I don't think I'll be tuning in after
Mhm.
this season. If it's just gonna be this loud talking, I got money because I have. Yeah, but how did you get there? How did you
Yeah,
get there? Who are your suppliers? Who did you talk to? How can we get
exactly.
started? You know,
How do you go about finding suppliers?
right?
Again, I think the how they started to show in the beginning, it could benefit so many people. And it saddens me that every time, we turn on the TV, if it's a black TV show, it's a ratchet reality show. But when we tune in to our white counterparts and their show, they showing you how to flip a house. They showing you how to become a home designer.
Yeah,
They showing you how to, and they showing you the ins and outs. But when it comes to our community, it always have to be the ratchet. It always have to be the ghetto. That's
and
not
it's not the
everybody. Do you
case.
still have ratchet
And
and ghetto? You have it in all races, but that's
yes,
not all we want to see. When you have your African Americans who have elevated, they have age, and they want to see something different. Absolutely.
yeah.
So
And the
I'm
thing
just
is,
saying,
at least from our last census that we had, our national census, it's not the case, because as the last election stated, black women, we're like 55% in education, in upper education, in so post education. So that's not the case. But I'm not quite sure why we still need to feed into what people perceive us to be as it being the norm, and it's not the norm. I can vouch for that. So,
yeah.
because
So we
the
don't
last
always have to have the rich and ghetto. I mean, and on, I'm like you. I'm surprised she ain't call these people and be like, let's get together and let's do
I'm
something
very
different out of so
surprised
many
that
seats.
a
Because when
lot
you
of
go to some of these other networks, like I said, we got our white counterparts, and you tune, they ain't on here fighting and talking about their adultery and all that. And I'm not saying that they don't have that to go on in their race. I'm saying when you turn on our shows that's made for us, all you see is the ghetto, and we're so above that now. You still have that in every
and
race.
I
You have
think
to.
that's why we probably notice it more. It's
Mhm.
because we know it's not everyone's story.
Yes.
So it's not our story, but that's what they would like for it to be out there, that's who we are as a people, and it's not.
Yeah, but do better. Like I said, bring both. You can do more than one thing at a time, Carlos. Do the ratchet and do the educational piece. And like
and
I
and,
said, and
and build
Me, you have
people
this
up.
conversation all the time.
Yeah.
Gen Z, we're not trying to work for anybody. They, not we, because I'm not in that generation.
And I
But they're
think
not trying to work.
this goes great into the way we want to segue into always talking about reality show and then bringing it into real life experience, because I was speaking to my mom before we got online, and I was mentioning that we had to do this, and we were talking about school and so on. And people, if y'all don't know me, yes, I'm one of them. I printed out the indictment so I can read through it to see what's going on down there in good old Florida. And I was telling my mom, and we were talking about current affairs and whatnot. And it brought me back to, I think I mentioned something about you, and I said, no, I said, I got to get online. I said, one thing about Felicia, if I don't pick up my phone for 2 days, she gonna come find me. She will tell her husband we heading to Houston, and she gonna be breaking down the door because my bestie in there and she hasn't answered the phone. I said, and it brought me back. Again, we're talking about I'm on this path to talking and being more open. It's not that, and I was saying to my mom, it's not that it's a knock on the way I was raised. People only operate from their own level of awakeness in this world, and that we're all broken people out here just trying to do the best that we can. And so she was saying that, oh, she didn't her parents, her if we thought she was tough, just imagine what it was like for her growing up. And I said, yeah, but I said, you're not very good at being vulnerable and being open about your experiences. She said, but those things didn't bother me. And I said, they did, because it shows up in, they bother you, and it showed up in your in the things that you've done in your life and in your actions. You're not very good at being verbal and being vulnerable, but trust me, they affect you. But it all shows up for everyone differently. And we were talking about school and so on, and I said, you know what, I wish you had a friend like I have with Fee, and what we are for each other, because we encourage each other to, yes, you can do it, no, you don't have to do that, let's go do this over here. I said, if you had one person in your corner, a friend, a relative, to say, hey, you're effing up, that's not what you need to be doing, you can, yeah, the kids are going to be okay no matter what they're going to eat, but if you go and focus on this, you may not see it now, but in down the road, it will pay off.
Yeah.
And so, and that's been my things to my nieces and my nephew. You can do it. Like I tell me, I tell people all the time, yes, you can go to college. College is there for everyone. It's up to you if you choose to walk through the doors. That's my perspective. Like, I had to drag my niece through college because she didn't know, because of her experiences, and she's finished, and she's so grateful, and she's doing amazing things now, even talking about going back to do her postgraduate. Don't stop there, because I'm telling y'all, I went to college with a lot of people that were slow, but the difference is that they were persistent and they wanted something different for their life. I think I've told you, I think I told you about my buddy down there in Florida. I ain't gonna call no names. And when I met her, she came from up north. And the life that she spoke about, I couldn't relate, because I grew up in the Caribbean, where if you're doing okay, you have a housekeeper, you have a driver that takes you to school and all that. But she was fighting every day going to high school. And of course she graduated, because they just, it was during the time where they just graduated you out, whether you learned anything or not. But when I could, just like you talk about, you couldn't string two sentences, that was my girl. But her tenacity to want something different, she packed up her car and drove from north by herself down to Florida. She took one math class at the community college probably 7 times. And this is somebody that I've known now for 20 plus years. And every year she's going and she's trying. She just finished after 20 plus years with her bachelor's.
Good for her.
But that is someone who wanted something different. And she just
dedication and determination. Yeah.
Determination. And that's what gets you through school. And I hope people got that message. That's what you don't have to be smart, but you have to be determined, you have to be persistent, and you got to show up for yourself. That's what I tell my niece. When everybody else fail you, you always punch in for yourself. You clock in for yourself, and you beat that.
And
You
I
be
want to add to that, you also have to know your why, because on those days when you don't want to push through, you may not want to go to school, you may not want to go through that math class, your why is going to push you through, and it's going to help you propel and get through what you're trying to get to. So always know your why behind what you're trying to do something, and your why has to be strong, because when your why is strong enough, you're going to figure out the how. So because your friend took that class 8 times because her why was strong enough, and when your why is strong, you're going to figure out how to do this.
different.
And one last thing I want to add, since we're talking about love and marriage Huntsville, and we always bring it back to real life, and this episode we've been talking about the different businesses. Yeah, college is a good thing, and me and Kay, we're both advocates for college education, but also we as Black parents, because I know for me, and even how I did my kids, go to college, go to college, go to college, go to college, but we never push entrepreneurship. We always talked about going working for somebody else. Go to college, get a degree to work for somebody else. No, get a degree and build your own business. You're building that company's dream. When you go get your degree, why go through all of this school and pay all of these students loan just to build somebody else's dream?
Yeah.
The company that you're working for, you're building their dream. How about going to college and paying those student loans to build your dream? And when you start your own business, you can pay those student loans off quicker, because trust me, these companies are not paying you enough to go pay off those student loans. But how about building your dream? How about leaving a legacy for your kids, something that you can pass on from generation to generation to generation? And so many times we say, hey, get your degree, you can work for this company. No, build your own company. One thing about being in your own lane, it ain't no competition.
And let me say this: the same requirements it takes, the same attributes, the same mindset it takes to go to college is the same mindset and skills that you need to even build your own company, because there are going to be days in building your own company that you don't even know where the next dollar is coming from. You may even have to ask your family members to spot you a 10 so you can make it through. But it's the same sort of qualities. You've got to be committed, you've got to be dedicated, you've got to see things through. And my biggest thing is, if you start something, you do not quit. If you quit at the first hurdle, you're going to be quitting everything thereafter. If you're quitting college because your business has taken off, okay, that's what needs your focus. I'm all for that. But either one you decide to do, it requires the same skill set. I'm just telling you that. Whether it's your own business or going to school, after high school, it's the same mindset that you need. You need to be dedicated.
Why not do both? Talk about love, marriage, Huntsville, and Carlos King and Marshall and Tissue. Why not do both? Go to college to build your business. But sometimes building the business, you need the knowledge behind it. Like if I want to build a clothing line, I probably need to go to fashion design school.
Exactly. You need a skill, and just like on my love marriage on Huntsville, they've all gone to college, and they certainly have pushed that. You want to know that when you sit in front of, especially our people, and let's take it here, like Black people, we naturally have rhythm and we naturally have a great voice to sing. And when you listen to those who have all been cheated in Hollywood, is because they didn't read contract. They trusted the person with the degree to tell them, but not realizing that's not in their interest to point out the fine print to you, to where the money is going to be going, and have you on a hook for all this money and all these albums that you lose creative interest in. So it has its value. If you're going into business, you want to know that you can balance a book. It ain't just Ray and NEM give you $10. Okay, how are you going to reinvest that $10 into your business and still find a way to pay yourself, and maybe not even be able to pay yourself? Because there's some growing pains. Those are the parts that, again, back to love, marriage, and Huntsville, I wish they would talk about that. How many days? What were they doing before they got to that point? Who was holding the 9 to 5 down while they built this, or were they holding the 9 to 5 down while they built this? They didn't just come here, because they're all country as hell. They all came from humble beginnings. So share those gems with the people out here, and that want to know. So. And I think more and more people are getting to that point. We don't just want to hear how that you're there. how did you get there? You know, some people aren't willing to share the blueprint, and that's so sad. And I must say, I had an instructor in my nurse practitioner program, and she said that. She said, information is meant to be shared, not hoard. Share what you know. I mean, and then you're dead and gone, and then what? You know, it's like you hear people talk about, oh, it's grandma's recipe, I can't share it. How does that make sense? But anyway, y'all know I can go off on this in a minute. I'm like, share and be happy, and just be a decent human in this life. Be kind to
Yes.
people.
Yeah. I remember Sonny Hostin, she was saying when she first started on The View, it was Sherry Shepherd who told her, hey, this is what to ask for in your contract. Hey, did you get a car? Did you get this? Did you get? She's like, no, my person didn't ask for none of
Exactly.
that. And it wasn't until somebody shared the information with her. And so, again, share the information. Carlos King, if
Share
you're
it.
listening, Bell Collective, the same thing that the people on Bell Collective, we need to know how you started the hairline, how you started those businesses that you started. Same thing, Brad and Judy. Yeah, we want to hear about the baby and the baby bump and all that, but we want to also see how you started Kaleidoscope. How did you start it from scratch and build it up
Share
to
the
where it is now?
info. Because here's the
Yeah.
thing, if it's not a part of your purpose or part of your spirit, you sharing the info, probably two people gonna take up on it. Because you know what? They don't have that drive, because it takes a level of drive and commitment to complete anything. So
On
that's
that
the
note,
difference.
our
Yes,
time is up, guys.
I know. And we hope you join us again next week for another episode of KayFeine Conversation. I'm Kay.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and tell somebody to tell somebody.
To tell somebody. Have a
Yes.
great week, y'all.
All right.